There are moments in life when everything seems still, yet something deep within you knows that heaven is moving. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you can feel it. The shift, the stirring, the quiet whisper that says, something powerful is about to happen. My friend, today's message is not just another sermon. It's a divine reminder straight from the throne of heaven. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. God led you here because He has something to tell you. There are days when we feel forgotten, when our prayers seem unanswered, when the pain feels too heavy to bear. But listen carefully, heaven is not ignoring you. In fact, right now, God is smiling over your life. He sees what you've gone through, the storms you've survived, and the faith you've held onto in silence. And today, He's about to turn your story into a song of victory. You see, sometimes God laughs, not because He takes your struggle lightly, but because He knows the ending of the story that you can't yet see. He laughs in victory because your enemies are defeated before the battle even begins. He laughs because the plans formed against you are already falling apart. And He laughs because the very pain that tried to break you is being turned into purpose. In the next few moments, we're going to walk through a revelation that will shift your perspective forever. We'll uncover why your faith makes heaven rejoice, why your tears have not been wasted, and why your endurance has become a weapon in the hands of God. If you've ever wondered why things had to happen the way they did, if you've ever felt that life's weight was too heavy, this message will show you that heaven has been laughing in victory over your destiny all along. So don't just listen, open your heart. Don't just hear, receive. Because before this video ends, something inside of you will awaken. You'll see your battles differently. You'll feel strength rising again, and you'll know, without a doubt, that you are chosen, that heaven is celebrating you, and that your story is far from over. Stay with me till the end, because what's coming next will ignite your faith like never before. When you choose to walk in faith, heaven takes notice. Every time you believe when it would have been easier to doubt, every time you pray instead of complain, every time you lift your hands in praise when circumstances try to pull you down, God smiles. Faith is the language of heaven, and when you speak it, angels move, situations shift, and divine favor begins to flow. What may seem like a simple act of trust on your part becomes a heavenly declaration of victory. When you stand firm in faith, you're not just enduring hardship. You're declaring that you believe in the God who cannot fail. Heaven rejoices because faith aligns you with divine truth. God is not moved by fear or anxiety. He is moved by faith. When you choose to trust Him, even with trembling hands and a weary heart, you are declaring that He is still in control. That decision brings delight to His heart because faith opens the door for His power to manifest in your life. Every time you choose faith, you are giving heaven permission to work miracles on your behalf. The world may not notice it, but heaven sees the battle you fight in your spirit, the tears you wipe away, and the prayers you whisper in silence. Those moments are sacred and they echo through eternity. When you take one small step in faith, you are saying, Lord, I trust you even when I don't understand. And that simple statement makes heaven rejoice because it shows that your confidence is not in what you can see, but in who He is. God laughs in victory because your faith has defeated fear. The enemy loses his grip when you stand on God's promises. Every moment of trust you offer is like striking a blow against the darkness, and heaven shouts with joy because the light of your faith just pushed back the night. Faith is not about how strong you feel. It's about who you choose to believe in. Even when you are weak, faith connects you to His strength. That's why heaven celebrates your faith. It's proof that the seed of divine power is alive in you. When you believe, even for just one more day, you cause ripples of victory to move through heaven and earth. Sometimes the battles you face are not meant to destroy you, but to reveal what's inside you. When you go through fire and still lift your voice to praise, when you face loss but refuse to give up on hope, heaven sees that strength and God smiles in triumph. Your struggle is not hidden from Him. Every tear, every late night prayer, every silent moment of surrender is known in heaven. What you thought was pain may actually be preparation. The hardship you endure today is not wasted. It's building a testimony that will one day become someone else's reason to believe. God allows certain storms not because He wants to break you, but because He's strengthening the foundation beneath you. Every difficulty becomes a tool in His hands, shaping your heart and refining your character. You may not see it yet, but every challenge is moving you closer to divine purpose. When you stand firm in the face of pressure, heaven celebrates because you are proving that your faith is genuine. The enemy thought that trial would silence you, but your perseverance makes God laugh in victory. Each time you refuse to bow to fear or give up in despair, it's a reminder to the spiritual world that you are not easily defeated. The very thing that was sent to bury you becomes the soil in which your destiny grows. God uses broken places to display His greatest glory. Your pain becomes the stage where His power performs. What looks like defeat to the world becomes divine setup for breakthrough. He rejoices because He knows that the pressure you're under today is producing something greater in you. You're being prepared for promises you couldn't handle before. When you come through this fire, you won't just survive. You'll shine with a new strength, wisdom, and confidence that only comes from walking through the valley with Him. So, when life feels unfair or too heavy, remember that heaven sees your endurance as a victory. God laughs not at your pain, but at the enemy's failed attempts to stop you. He knows the story's ending. You win. The pain you're feeling is the signal that something powerful is being birthed in your life. Keep standing because your perseverance is echoing victory throughout heaven. There are moments in life when you've done all you can do, when your prayers seem unanswered and your strength feels gone, yet something inside you whispers, keep going. That's not just your willpower speaking. That's the Spirit of God breathing courage into your soul. When you continue to move forward in faith, even when the evidence doesn't look promising, heaven sees that as victory. You may not realize it, but every small step you take in obedience carries tremendous spiritual weight. God rejoices because your endurance proves that your trust is rooted in Him, not in your circumstances. When everything around you says it's over, but your heart still believes, heaven laughs in triumph because the enemy's plan to break you has failed. Faith that endures under pressure is one of the highest forms of worship. It tells God, even if I can't see the way out, I know you're still with me. That kind of faith moves heaven. It opens doors that no man can shut. It shifts situations that seemed impossible, and it invites divine intervention into your life. Every time you choose to keep walking, praying, and believing, you are writing a story that angels celebrate. Heaven isn't impressed by the perfection of your path, but by the perseverance of your heart. Your consistency in faith is proof that the fire cannot consume you. It can only refine you. When you remain steadfast, it's not just a personal victory. It's a divine declaration. You are showing the unseen world that God's word in your life cannot be shaken. Your persistence is a message to heaven that you trust the outcome to the one who holds it all. It's also a message to hell that you won't back down just because life got hard. Every act of endurance, every prayer you whisper through your tears becomes a seed of victory that heaven waters with joy. God laughs in victory because He knows the ending of your story. He sees the reward waiting on the other side of your endurance. What feels like delay to you is divine preparation. Every time you choose to stand firm, even when you could have surrendered, you align yourself with the rhythm of heaven's victory. You may not see it yet, but your endurance is already echoing triumph in the heavens when you worship in the middle of pain. You are doing something that confuses the enemy and delights the heart of God. Worship is not only a song, it's a declaration of trust when life doesn't make sense. When you choose to lift your hands instead of hanging your head, heaven takes notice. God is not looking for perfect voices. He's looking for hearts that adore Him, even in brokenness. Every time you say, Lord, I praise you even now, your worship becomes a weapon. It cuts through the darkness. It silences fear, and it invites the presence of God into your situation. Heaven rejoices when you worship in faith, because it proves that your devotion is real, not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in love. Worship in hardship is one of the purest forms of faith. It's easy to praise when everything is going well, but when you lift your voice from the valley, your worship becomes gold refined by fire. The angels stand in awe because they understand that such worship carries eternal power. It's the kind of praise that moves mountains and breaks chains. God laughs in victory because your worship is proclaiming the enemy did not win. Each time you sing, pray, or thank Him through tears, you are proclaiming victory even before it manifests in the physical realm. Your praise becomes prophecy. It announces what God is about to do. When you worship during trials, you are not denying reality. You are declaring a greater reality, God's sovereignty. You are saying, my situation may be difficult, but my God is still faithful. That kind of worship is magnetic to heaven's power. It draws divine strength into your weakness. Worship lifts your perspective from the problem to the provider, from fear to faith, from despair to hope. It transforms the atmosphere around you because wherever true worship rises, heaven responds. God rejoices in those moments because your worship is proof that the storm cannot silence you. It's evidence that you trust His heart even when you don't understand His hand. Heaven celebrates because your praise testifies that the battle is already won. When you worship despite pain, you are joining heaven's song of victory, declaring that no darkness can overcome the light that lives within you. Obedience is one of the most powerful expressions of faith, especially when you don't understand what God is doing. Many people pray for blessings, but resist the instructions that lead to them. Yet, it's in your willingness to obey, even when it's uncomfortable or unclear, that miracles are born. When you take a step simply because God said so, heaven rejoices. That single act of obedience may seem small, but it carries eternal weight. It tells heaven that you trust the commander more than your own logic. Every time you choose to say yes to His direction, you open the door for divine favor to flow. God laughs in victory when His children walk in obedience, because obedience destroys the enemy's plans of confusion and doubt. There's a difference between understanding God's command and obeying it. Sometimes obedience requires you to move before you see results. Think of how the walls of Jericho fell. not because the people fought, but because they obeyed a strange instruction, or how Peter caught a miraculous number of fish, not because he was a better fisherman that day, but because he obeyed Jesus' word to cast the net again. Each time you follow God's leading, no matter how small or simple it seems, you activate His supernatural power in your life. Heaven rejoices because your obedience becomes the channel for His glory to be revealed on earth. Obedience is not a restriction, it's alignment. When you obey, you position yourself under the flow of divine blessing. God knows that every instruction He gives is designed to move you closer to breakthrough. Even if it costs you something now, it will reward you later. Your obedience tells heaven that your trust is real, that your love is not shallow or conditional. The enemy hates obedience because he knows it is the pathway to dominion. When you walk in obedience, you silence every voice of fear and confusion. Heaven celebrates because your obedience echoes the heart of Jesus Himself, who was obedient even to the point of the cross. Each time you obey, you reflect that same spirit of surrender and victory. God laughs in triumph because He knows that through your obedience, His purpose is being fulfilled, and your story is moving toward divine success and restoration. When you forgive those who hurt you, heaven rejoices in ways you cannot imagine. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is divine strength flowing through a human heart. It is choosing to let go of bitterness and allowing God to be your defender. Every time you release the offense, you're freeing your soul from the chains that keep you bound. The enemy thrives on division, anger, and resentment because these emotions block blessings and steal peace. But the moment you choose forgiveness, God laughs in victory because the enemy's trap has failed. You've chosen love over hate, peace over pain, and grace over vengeance. That single decision shifts the spiritual atmosphere around you, opening the door for healing and restoration. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was right. It's saying you refuse to let it control your future. When you forgive, you are trusting that God's justice is greater than human revenge. Heaven celebrates because forgiveness mirrors the very heart of God. It is what Jesus demonstrated on the cross when He said, "Father, forgive them." Each time you choose to forgive, you're becoming more like Him. That act of grace sends ripples through the heavens because it means darkness has lost another hold over your life. It means your spirit is walking in victory, not victimhood. Forgiveness is also a door to blessing. Many people pray for breakthrough, but their hearts are burdened by resentment. The moment forgiveness flows, blessings begin to move freely again. God cannot fill a heart that's already full of anger. But when you forgive, you make room for His peace, joy, and abundance. Heaven rejoices because forgiveness restores divine order. It aligns your heart with love, and love never fails. The enemy's laughter fades when you forgive because it shows that his plan to keep you bound has been defeated. Each time you forgive, you proclaim that God's grace in you is greater than the hurt around you. You take back control of your peace, your destiny, and your future. Heaven laughs in triumph because forgiveness brings freedom, not just for the person you forgive, but for you. It is the sound of chains breaking and hearts healing. And every time you forgive, you remind heaven that love truly wins. My beloved, as we come to the end of this powerful message, remember this: heaven is not silent over your life. Every step of faith you take, every tear you've cried, every moment you've chosen hope instead of despair, God has seen it all. The battles that once made you question your purpose are now becoming testimonies that will glorify His name. Heaven laughs in victory because you have refused to give up. You stood firm when others doubted. You believed when logic said it was impossible. You worshipped when your heart was heavy. You obeyed even when you didn't understand. And you forgave when it would have been easier to hate. That is the language of victory, the sound that makes God rejoice over your life. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. You are not defeated. You are anointed. And no matter what you've lost, heaven is declaring restoration over you. The very moments that brought you pain are being rewritten by grace. The hand of God is moving even now, working behind the scenes to turn your trials into triumphs. So keep walking by faith. Keep speaking life. Keep trusting the one who called you, because your breakthrough is closer than you think. God is laughing in victory. Not because of what you've lost, but because of what's coming. There's a harvest on the other side of your endurance, a blessing on the other side of your obedience, and a peace that surpasses understanding waiting to flood your soul. Heaven is celebrating your story right now because you are stepping into a season of divine reversal. So as you go forward from today, walk boldly in faith. Let your life be a living testimony that no pain, no delay, no enemy can stop what God has ordained for you. You are chosen, you are covered, and you are unstoppable in His name. Good luck on your journey of faith, restoration, and victory. May doors open before you that no man can shut. May peace follow your every step, and may favor rest upon your home. Thank you for listening, thank you for believing, and thank you for walking this path of faith with courage. Stay strong, stay faithful, and remember, heaven is already rejoicing over your life. God bless you richly.